Hey everyone, welcome to this tutorial on building a custom AI chatbot for your website using Cursor. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build a smart chatbot that can answer customer questions 24/7, save your team hours of repetitive work, and provide instant support to your website visitors. The best part, we're going to build this from scratch in Cursor, not using a no-code platform. We're going to use Next.js, which means you have complete control over how the platform works, how it looks, and what it costs to run. There's no monthly subscription fees eating into your budget. Instead, you can spend that money on marketing and getting customers to purchase your services. Plus, it's incredibly easy to deploy and embed on any website. Let's get started. First, let's talk about why building your own chatbot makes sense for small businesses. Think about how much time your team spends answering the same questions over and over again from current clients along with prospective clients. What are your hours? How much does this service cost? Do you offer X? Well, building a custom chatbot will allow you to handle all these questions automatically, and it's something almost every single business is doing nowadays. But when you build it yourself, you own it completely, which is different than subscribing to some sort of service. You're not locked into monthly fees, you're not limited by someone else's platform restrictions, and you can customize it exactly how you want. We're going to build a chatbot that's trained on your business information, so it answers questions accurately based on your actual services and policies. And since we're using Cursor with its planned feature, the AI will literally build the entire thing for us with one prompt. Even if you've never coded before, you can do this pretty easily. All right, let's build one now.
The very first thing that you're going to want to do when you get started is to go to cursor.com and download Cursor. If you already have it installed, don't worry about this. But for those that don't, make sure you go to this website and download it. Cursor is a great tool. You can do a lot of cool things with it. It has really allowed me to create a lot of awesome products that I would never imagined that I could have created on myself before. I come from a little bit of technology experience, and Cursor really empowers you to build what you want, which is really cool. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create a new project folder. I named this one AI Chatbot. Once we go there, we want to right click and we want to create a new file. So I already did that, and I named this file business-data.txt. So this is going to be where we store all of the general information about our business. So for this business that we're creating this chatbot for, we're going to say that we're a local real estate agency that's in Bellevue, Washington. So I'm going to put in some information that I've gathered about this fake business. And so I just copied and pasted that into here. You want to make sure that you're as detailed as possible so that the AI is able to answer any sort of questions that a customer has. We can also direct how the AI is going to respond, but we really want to make sure that we're putting the details in here. So we can also add to here saying we are a top-ranking agency. We sell houses all over the East Side community. So we can add in a couple of notes. So we put in our hours, we put in a couple of questions that someone may have. And so we want to delete some parts as well. We can do that. So once we do that, we want to do Command Option S if you're on Mac, or Control S if you're on the PC. You want to save that to this file. So now our chatbot has something to reference.
The first step in building out our AI chatbot is that we want to go get an API key to any sort of LLM. I'm going to use OpenAI. So I navigated to OpenAI, I created an API key, and we're going to be using the GPT-5.1 Nano model. It's a very cheap model. It won't cost you anything to run, and it's smart enough to answer the questions that customers may have. If you find that this model isn't doing the best, we can always change it. We can use Gemini, one of these other ones. But for now, let's go get that OpenAI API key. Once we have that API key, it's pretty straightforward. So I have a prompt that I'm going to be using to create this chatbot. You can use your own prompt. It's pretty simple, but you want to make sure that you're being descriptive. You want to make sure that you're saying, what do we want to code this platform on? So I'm going to use Next.js. We want to make sure that we're telling it that we want this to be embeddable in other people's websites. And we really just want to define how it's going to look and how it's going to operate. So I have this prompt that I put into the right-hand side, which is the command palette in Cursor. Once I have that, I can select the model. I'm going to use Sonnet 4.5. It does a pretty great job, and it's definitely cheaper than using Opus. The big thing that you want to do first is select this infinity logo and switch to the plan mode. This makes sure that the AI is going to read through the entire plan that you've provided it and ask any additional questions that are needed, and then create a PRD that it will follow to build the correct chatbot that we're looking for. So once you have that, go ahead and press the arrow, and then it'll get going and start building out your website. As you see that once you press that arrow to create the plan, cursor starts working in Magic. And doing this mode, instead of just telling it what to do and then having it go straight to writing the code, is a lot better because it's creating a concise and clean plan before it starts coding so that you're not getting slop. You may have some lines of code that are off, but that's all AI coding, vibe coding, but this will really ensure that you have a clear structure for how you want your project to work. So we can see here, it created a plan. It has a bunch of different to-dos. We have the file structure, so what's going to be in this code base. We have the implementation steps that the project's going to follow. We have the different TypeScript types that it's going to use. What's the API route that it's going to create? We have different chat components. We have the widget page. Then we also have the embed script. So how do we want it embedded? And so we look through all this. It looks good to me. We then will go ahead and we will create build. Cursor now will start working its magic and start building out the platform. After a minute or so, Cursor has now created the entire application. It has created the chatbot and the ability for it to be embedded in different website platforms such as Squarespace, Wix, really giving you ability to create these custom tools to provide to different clients, along with building it for your own self and your own business. So what we can see here is Cursor has created all the necessary files to creating this chatbot. You may have no experience around coding, no technical abilities, but the system's already gone through and created this for you. If you had the experience, you could go through, you could review these different options. For example, if we go to API/chat and then route, we're going to see what is the prompt. So what is the LLM given to then respond to these customers? It's really telling them how to respond. You are a helpful customer service assistant for ABC Real Estate. Only answer questions based on the following business information. If asked something not in business data, politely say you don't have the information and suggest they contact the office directly. We then call the business data, which is what we pulled in right here in the business-data.txt. Remember to be warm and welcoming, only provide information from business data above. If you don't know something, be honest and suggest the office. We can add something. So we can say if the user asks about the agency, be sure to mention that we are a top ranking agency and we sell houses all over the East Side community. So we can add that. We can also add if someone is asking about a specific house, make sure to capture their lead information and follow up. Lead information. So you can add in different things like that. We can connect it to a database, store this lead information. We can have an option where it recognizes that it's a lead. We can then send it to your specific CRM. So you have a lot of ability to do a lot of these cool different things. You can also add that on the right-hand side. If there's something that you want to add, you can type that in here and Cursor will go ahead and do it. We want to go through. So it looks like it's using GPT-4. We want to change that to 5.1 Nano. So we do that. So once we have all of that, everything looks good. We then want to save the file, and now we're ready to test it. The final step that we want to do is we want to go to the .env.example. We want to rename it so that it's just .env. So this is where we're going to put our API keys. So the first one we can keep the same. This is how we're going to test it. And then we want to put in that OpenAI key that you got earlier. Cursor has now gone through and completed the project that we asked it to. Has completed the chatbot, and so now it is time to test it out and see what's working, what's not, and any changes that we can think of. So what we want to do is we want to open up a new terminal. If you go to the top of your screen, you'll see something that says terminal. Click that and then click new terminal. It will open it up. The first thing that you want to do is do npm install. I've already done that, but you want to do that before you run any projects. This will install any dependencies so that the code can actually run. Once you have it done, you then want to type in npm run dev. This is going to start up our application. We go to the local host. We click command click. It will now open up a new tab for us to look at the website. So our chatbot, you can see it's embedded in the bottom right corner. We can select it. All right, so the starting message we see is, hello, how can I help you today? So we can change that if we want. We can put in any questions. So I have a couple of questions that we want to make sure that it's working. So we can do, what are your hours? It's going to check our business data file. It's going to pull it back. These are the correct hours. Let's ask, What services do you offer? I want to sell my house. Can you help me? Great. So it goes through, it answers the questions, says, yes, we can help you sell your house. It's looking good, great information. It then says, would you like me to help arrange a consultation? Or would you like to share some basic details about your property now? One thing is that our system right now, it's not connected to anything. So there's no ability for it to arrange a consultation. So one thing that we could do is we could set up a connection with Calendly. So we can go to calendly.com. We can get an API key from them. So then now we can embed Calendly into our widget. So when it recognizes, oh, we want to arrange a consultation, it's now going to show Calendly and it's going to book a meeting for us. So why don't we do that? So we want to integrate with Calendly now. So what we want to do is we want to come over here to the chat window and we want to make sure that we give it instructions on what we want to do next. Since this is a smaller task, we don't need to do the planned feature. So we'll come here and say, I want to integrate my chatbot with Calendly. Can you help me set this up? Once you do that, all you have to do is press enter. It's going to think through how it's going to do this. So after I've asked Cursor to implement the Calendly aspect, it asked me a question. Can you provide with me your Calendly scheduling link? So I went to calendly.com, I created a profile, and then I generated my scheduling link. I then gave it to them, and I said, I want to embed this in the chatbot, not just have the customer be redirected to another page because that's a poor customer experience. Cursor then went through, it implemented all of the changes, and then what I want to do in my browser tab is that I want to refresh the page. Once I'm there, go to the chat widget. I can say, I am interested in buying a home. Can I schedule a time with your team? And I send it. Our system is now going to process and it's going to pull up the Calendly link that we gave it. It gives us a response. Great, I'd be happy to help you schedule a time with our team. Simply pick a date and time that works best, and one of our agents will be ready to meet. Give some more information as well. So we go down here, we select the time, and then it will book the meeting automatically on your Calendly. So then this will then save the information. You now have a booking tool where you as a person don't have to pick up the phone, schedule any meetings, but now based on your calendars that are automatically synced with Calendly, you now have this automatic scheduling tool along with the chatbot that can answer any questions that a customer may have about your business. As we can see, we were able to create a working widget that allows customers to book meetings with realtors so that they can make sure that they see the home that they're interested in and so that you have an automatic booking system. This is a great way so that you can save time on the phones and really make sure that you're doing the important work of selling homes and introducing homes to different people. The biggest thing that you can do once you complete building this widget is we can now deploy it to Vercel. To do that, we just have to push our code to GitHub, go to vercel.com. Once you're on vercel.com, you'll have an option to import projects from your GitHub. You select that, you push the code directly there. You don't have to do anything, you just press import. Your code is now going to be living online and accessible at a certain website. Vercel is going to give you a link. Once you have that link, you can now go to Wix, Squarespace, any website editor that you're using. If they built the website in code, this is even easier. You can then go to the README file and you navigate to the part where it says how to use the embedded code. We're then going to go to the closing body tag. Once we're there, we'll put in the URL of our deployed website. So once you deploy it, it may say aichatbot.vercel.app/embed.js. We want to take that link and then we want to embed it exactly how Cursor is saying to embed it. If you have any questions, we can put it in this chat window over here and we can say, this is the code on my other website. Can you tell me where I need to embed my AI chatbot? So now we've been able to learn how to create these chatbots, how we can embed them in different websites. And the great part is this is now fully yours. There isn't a subscription that you have to follow, no demos that you have to listen to. Instead, we can completely change this chatbot to do whatever we want. If we want to connect it to Slack, if we want to store information in a database like Supabase, all we would have to say in here is, I've connected a database in Supabase. It stores all of these different files. Can you please access these when you have a question about X. Or you can save all of our available properties. So say we have 10 available properties. We can store those in Supabase. We can then have our chatbot call and reference that Supabase table. So if a customer is saying, hey, I'm interested in properties in Seattle, Washington, well, now we're going to look into the Supabase. We're going to pull those properties and we're going to return them to the customer. You have a lot of flexibility and really the world's your oysters. So please explore using Cursor, ask it a lot of different questions. It can build a lot of different things that you couldn't imagine that you could build right now without AI.